Hello, what's up, guys, and welcome to our channel, Rubaba. So today we're going to talk about one of the most prominent thing. Yes, you are seeing the right screen. We are going to talk about the Python, so which is one of the most popular programming language widely used by most of the companies and the people in the world, right? And why we choose that topic after the sequel series, because we believe that this is one of the most programming language which will be going to use by most of the companies and which will be going to beneficial for all of us. So there are certain reasons behind selecting this language in this tutorial, because Python is one of the powerful programming language. It is simple to learn. It is effective in high level data structures and straightforward but efficient in object-oriented programming language, right? It is also one of the fantastic language for scripting and quick application development across the wide range of platforms. And I believe that Python is a programming language that can help you to accomplish your goal, whether you are trying to create the next level groundbreaking AI algorithms or whatever you prefer, but it is mostly used by most of the people. So we thought that let's choose this topic, and so many of you have told me that you wanted to see this video in English version, so I choose to communicate in English. That's why right now going forward use this language as a communication. So you most of can take advantage of this thing, right? So everything will start with first of all the installation. The first stage is the installation, right? How will you install the Python in your system, right? If you have not installed and if you are not familiar with this language. So basically, first of all, you just need to type on Google python.org. Once you type that, it will take you to this screen, right? And then you need to click on download, or you can see over here you can see multiple options wherever you are, whatever your operating system you are using, whether it is a Windows, OS, or Linux, right? Right. You need to select that and you need to click on this version. It will be the latest version. Once you hit download, the exe file will get downloaded. You can check it on your download version, right? In this folder it will be appear here, right? And once you double click it, it will start begin the installation process. Now before proceeding this thing, first of all, which you need to make sure is that let's make sure that in your system Python is already installed or not. So for that, what you need to do is you just need to press window R, right, and type cmd and hit enter, right? This screen will come, and type Python. Okay, once you type this and hit enter, right, it will bring the screen, right, which can state information about whether the Python is installed or not, right? Right now it is stating that it is not installed, but let me retry it. So I hit again, right, and if we type Python, surely, so it you will get this screen, right? This is the information when the Python is installed in your system. It will also state about the version of the Python, right? So if you see over here is 3.11.7, that is the version which I have installed in my system, right? If you have not installed, you may get the error message that it is not installed in your system, right? Or you wouldn't find this Python in the version of system, right? So that is the first thing about the installation process, right? And there are certain a few more things which we need to understand before proceeding the programming language. So we were talking about the unique features of the Python before. We need to understand first that before proceeding the programming language. So it is easy to understand and readable language, right? Anyone can learn Python. It is incredibly simple. It is a simple in syntax. It's super easy to understand, right? And interpreted language it is also. So it's more easier for any of the one who is not from the programming language compared to the other programming language, which are most of the complex one. But each of the programming language has their own advantage and disadvantage. So Python is also dynamic type language, right? It has so many libraries. It is open source and free version, so you can use extensively, right? You can take leverage of many things in that. And it is mostly used for the data science algorithm and machine learning models, right? You may have heard these things very well, because this is one of the most prominent thing which is right now happening around the world, and many of the companies are following this thing. And it also has the large standard library, right? This has the extensive standard library that Python provides to its user is one of the key characteristics. It is a high level language. It has object oriented programming language benefits, right? There are large community supports, right, which is developed by the so many developers. So from that you can get any kind of supports. So these are the main, I mean, the things which we're supposed to understand before proceeding for the programming language, right? So as we have installed the Python, right, in our system, the main thing which we can begin about the installation which we have proceeded. Now we can think about the environment setup, right? So that let's check how you can run the first program in your system. So before proceeding for the programming language, we need to check the environment, and for that what you need to do is again you need to type the cmd in the run environment, right? Just type window R and you will get the screen, and type cmd, and then you need to search the environment location for the Python. So you know, type where Python, right? So if you type this one, it will showcase the path where exactly it is right now resides. So if you see it's in the username, then app data, local, Microsoft, Windows app, and python.exe, that is our executable file, right? If this path is not yet set up, then we need to probably go to the environment. Basically, you need to go to the setting, right? In settings, you need to type the environment, and after typing, you will get this screen, right? And you need to select the system environment, then you will get the screen. Then you need to click on environment variables, right? And this path is the same what we have seen just now. So you need to set this path by clicking edit if it is not yet set by installation of the Python, right? So as we know that Python has installed, then we need to check the environment, and after environment we can begin for the programming. So now there are again two more scenarios. So each of the programming language has multiple different tools in which we can run the programming language. Like we can use the Visual Studio Code, we can use the Jupyter, we can use the Anacondas, and many more things are there. So it's up to you guys, whatever you prefer, whatever you like. So over here I'm just focusing on the simplicity, so I will go with the ideally. Ideally is nothing with the, it is an integrated development environment. By default, when you install the Python, you will get that in your system. So to get that, you just need to type in your magnifier, right? You just type IDLE, right? You will get it. So this is comes with them by default installation of the Python. So once you install, you need to run this one, right? So if you run as an administrator, the screen will come like this one, okay? And this screen you can write whatever you prefer. So for an example, if I write one of the simplest program which you may have seen many times, right? Okay, so you can write like this. Okay, if we hit enter, so it will print the your print line command. So this is the one of the things. So this is in Python ideally command shell script environment in which you can write your program. Now over here, this is the simplest thing, but to run the more little bit more longest programs with multiple lines and the little complex program, you need to create one of the files. So we'll see that how in deep you can do that with this kind of environment, but you can preferably choose whatever you prefer, up to your requirement, up to your choice. You can use Jupyter, you can use VS Studio, you can use Anacondas. Do select whatever you, but just start doing programming, because that is the ultimate things. Tools can be anything, the concept remains as it is. So we need to focus on that thing, guys. So let's begin on that part. So we're going to begin with the script mode, and script mode is nothing but a notepad version. So the difference between writing program over here and running over here, we couldn't save the program in this environment, because in future if we want that program to be run for us, then we need to rewrite that program again, right? So to avoid those things, we need to save the time. So what we can do is we can use the file option, click new file, right? This file will open. Now what you can do is you need to save this file wherever you are prefer. For example, if I click save, right, I select desktop, right, and I type first, that's it. You can give any name and it will save with the Python extension in it, okay? So when I click OK, right, you can see the location of my file, and then okay, you can write whatever program you prefer to run. So for an example, if I write the code over here, right, for example, this is my code. I'm declaring a is equal to 15, b is equal to 25, right, and I then want a summation of a and a plus b into the c. So we'll store the output of that. So we write a plus b over here, right, and then we're going to print c. So this way, right, if I run, so for running this program there is an option called run over here. If you run this one, it will get run, right? We need to click first save, then it will get run over here. So this is an output. So this is the thing, you can save this file, you can utilize this file in future whenever you want to that program to be run for you, okay? and you will get output in ideally shell script screen over here. Okay, so now we're gonna understand the basic thing about the programming language, and each of the programming language has their specific units which we can understand as a block. So for Python, we need to understand there are five things which are very important things that are known as tokens, right? So token, there are five types of token in Python. First is the identifier, right? Second is the keyword, okay? Then we have literals, then we have operators, then we have punctuators. Okay, so why we need this thing? Because these are very important things we need to understand. So identifiers, what are identifiers? Basically identifiers are important things because it is a name given to any of the variables, right, which is mainly used for the variable, method or class. You can declare that, right, or any of the object which is known as an identifier, right? So it is very important, right? Name given by us. Okay, then we have mm, keywords, right? So keywords, what are the keywords? So keywords are very again important point, and for that, which is something reserve words in any of the programming language, right, which is mostly used by the uh, many of the programming language, so which we cannot use as a string. So just like if you ever learn the previous other programming language like C or the Java or any other, so we cannot use the int, boolean, any of the reserve keywords. Those are the predefined keywords which is used by the system and the language. We cannot use it, right? So that is called reserve keywords, right? Predefined words from the systems. Then we have lateral. So lateral is nothing but a different than above two, which means it is a special, right? Laterals are the specials, which means it is used in some unique scenarios. Okay, and so okay, then we have operators. So operator is used for the particular operations, right? If you want to perform any kind of operation in the programming language, right, it can be arithmetic, it can be anything. So at that time we need to use an operator. It is a symbol which we are used for many different scenarios, right? So this is mainly used for the operations. Okay, then we have punctuators, right, which means it is a special symbol, right, which is again a different scenario. So it is mainly underscore or something like that, right? So now we need to understand certain rules for using these keywords, right? So we cannot use reserve keywords. So as per this the tokens line rule, we cannot use the reserve keywords. There shouldn't be any space between there shouldn't be any white space, right? We can use character from capital A to capital Z, right, in Python, or we can use small a to small z, right? That is about alphabet. For number we can use 0 to 9, right? And we can use underscore as well. So that is a basic thing, right? And if you're using underscore, then it should be the first, right? And apart from the underscore, it should not contain any special character. So for an example, if I'm writing any of the program, at one time I can only use one single special character. I couldn't use more than one special character in my programming language. That is the basic rule for the programming language for Python, which we may need to understand first, right? If we are not understanding, it wouldn't get work for us. So that is the important first for us to understand before writing any of the program in this language. Okay, so now first of all we see how we can write a comment in the program, right? So for an example, right, uh, how do you declare your comment, right? So there are certain scenarios, right? If you are not writing correctly, right, you may face an error over here. So let's take an example. If I use a straight away line without declaring special character prior to that comment, right, what error we may face? So for an example, right, over here, if I write let's say v is equal to, right, we type 10, then we use like this is please check. Okay, let's type a comment, please check the code written over here. Okay, then put an and if I type if v is equal to 10, okay, then my termination, right, and which I need to terminate, and then I need to use print. So print is a function in Python which you need to remember that, and then we'll type hello. Okay, and then we're gonna save and we're gonna run this one. Okay, so I saved it with Control S and I run it. Okay, so you see we are facing error over here as an invalid syntax because it is understanding that this is a whole program, but this particular line it's not a string or not a character, so it is getting confused over here. So to write a comment in the Python, right, there are two things which you need to make sure that you can write a comment in two way, either it is a single line comment or either it is a two line comment, right? So for single line comment you just need to type hash at the beginning of the comment, right? Like if you put hash, then it will get changed to the comment format. I will again save it, and if I run it, it will get run, so you will see the output over here. So this was part for the single line comment, right, which you need to use the hash. And for writing a multi-line comments, right, you need to use quotation. For an example, if you are typing the next comment over here, right, if you see hello, I type like this, okay, so it will not going to work with this one, right? So for sure you need to write this way, you need to type this way. Now it will become convert. So this three uh, double quotation format is the multi-line comment style, but you need to terminate that as well, so otherwise it will consider the program as well into the comment section. So you need to terminate that, so for that at the end of your sentence or the next line you need to type again the same quotation three times, so it will separate the comments and the programs, so that will create a line between both of them. So now if we save it and if we run it, you wouldn't face any kind of issue regarding the comments, so your program will get run successfully. So this was the part about writing a comment in the programming language, how you can write the multi-line comments, right, or the single line comments, and how you can use that. So hash is for the single line quotation, I mean single line comment, and this double quote is three times, which is used for the multi-line comments, right, which is known as a doc string. So this three word is known as a doc string, which you need to remember, right, which is a specific word. So I hope you like it. So let's move on this one as well. So now we're going to see how you can write the arithmetic code with string as well as number. So it may perform differently, right? So for an example, if you write for an example 2 plus 2, right, you will get 4 definitely. If you write 3 minus 5, you will get minus 2, right? If you write 5 minus 2, right, you will get 3. And if you do 2 multiply by 6, right, so you will get 12, right? Okay, and then if you do uh, division of 5 by 3, right, you will get 1.66, right? And if you do the 5 modulo 3, then you will get 1, right? But if you try the same thing with string, right, for an example, if I type hello, okay, and then I put again quotation, then plus, and then I put again one more string, okay, and if I enter, okay, so what you will see, you will see hello bye. So it will join, it will work as a concatenate function, right? But if you write the same thing, if you merge the string and uh, the numeric value, right, with the arithmetic function, so what you will get, for example, if I type hello, okay, and I close, I mean with parenthesis and sorry, with quotation, and if I plus, if I type 5, you will see, right, you may get error at this time. Okay, so let me try one more time. So in this case, if I type hello, okay, and if I put into, right, multiplication and then 4, so you will see you written hello 4 times, so it is working differently over here. So you need to understand the arithmetic functions may work differently for string as well as for the numbers, so which we need to make sure that we're going to see one more program in detail and that we can use as a concatenation for this one. So unlike we know that Python, right, it's a dynamic programming language, so its specialty, I mean it has a specialty that it will detect is data type by default, right? So for an example, if we are declaring something over here, let's take an example. If we are declaring name, right, is equal to, we are declaring some name, right, for an example Ashok, okay, and then we are declaring some, for an example, their age, right, and if I'm typing 25, right, and then if you are printing that, okay, so if you type with double quotation name over here, right, so in double quotation, right, it may outperform differently. So let me show you why I'm saying this one, because if you type in the double quotation, this will consider as a flat string, which means it will print those thing as it is, which means it will not going to print Ashok Ashok's name, I mean the name and the age of 25 for him in age section. So why I'm saying this one, because we have wrote it in the double quotation, right? So if you select all this, or if you save it and then if you click run model, so you will see age and name. Why? So because you write it in the quotation, you need to make sure that if whatever you write in that quotation, it will be converted into the string. It will not be considered as a variable, right? So in this case, we have declared Ashok as a name, and the variable name is name. So this is my variable name, this name, age is my variable, and this is my out value, right? What we have declared over here. Now if I'm removing the quotation and then if I'm going for the printing, the print command, okay, so I'm saving this one and putting run, you can see it, you will get output over here. So this is my output. So you need to understand, in other programming language, we need to declare the data type prior to the declaration of variable, but in this case it is not like that. In Python, it is by default, it is able to or capable of understanding what kind of data type you have declared over here. So in other programming language, we may have to declare like this int, right, and for this one we mention something like car, if you may have studied other programming language, but over here it is not the case. So this is the speciality of this thing. Now for an example, if you read it over here, right, but in later some point of time, right, if you change for an example the name from the variable, so if I change my variable name from Ashok to Kiran, right, and age from 25 to 52, if I save it, you will see that output will change from Ashok 25 to Kiran 52. So let's see. So this is, so variable remain as it is, but your output will may get changed depending upon your declaration. So this is my variable and this is my value, what we have declared over here, and this is my print function from which I'm printing my variable value. Okay. Now let's take one more step ahead. For an example, if you want to take input from user, right now this is not the dynamic declaration, right, which means it is a fixed set of value, which means we will get only this output every time when we run this program. Okay, but in that case, if you want a unique name to be taken from the user, right, so what you need to do is you need to mention prior to this one, you need to declare input, because we are asking from user to provide the input. So what we can do, we can write in the double quotation that enter your name, okay, and we're gonna remove this one, okay, sorry, okay, and then we're gonna put bracket over here, right, sorry, bracket over here. Then for age, again we're gonna put input, okay, but this time we need to specify int, because we are asking a number which is from the user, right? So let's see what we will get. Okay, so if I type input and then we again put int, then in bracket age, okay, bracket close, and now let's save it and let's run it. Okay, so if we save it and run it, okay, so we may face error over here. Okay, so this is because of this one, because we may have declared over here. So hang on one second, let me take out this int part, okay, and let's see. Okay, so now it is asking the name. So for an example, if I am entering any of the name, for an example 9, okay, and if I enter, so it will again ask for the age. So if I type, okay, 41, okay, so it's that way, it is asking username from the user age from us, and then it is printing that thing. So it is a dynamic user taking function, I mean, from which you can take input from users. It can be anything, and then you can store it anywhere you prefer. So as of now, we were having some doubt about over here. We thought that it is because of a number of formats, so we may need to declare int over here, but this time it is working. So we are just need to mention input prior to the string what we are asking from the user. So as we are talking about data type, we first need to understand that in Python there are two types of data type. One is the mutable and second is immutable. Okay, so mutable data type are those whose value can be manipulated, and immutable data types are those whose value can be manipulated without changing their memory location, right? And if you think what are the data types for the mutables, which means what are those? So those are the list, dictionary, right? And for immutable, there are integer, string, boolean, tuple, right, which we may have heard a lot of time. So those are the immutable, which whose value can be changed without changing the memory location. So that was for the data type, right? So we need to keep this in mind, mutable and immutable. Okay, so it is again very important thing to have as in clarity in this programming language, so please make sure of that as well. So to understand what I said previously, right, we need to have a clarity more on that. So let me try one of the simple programs. So for an example, if you have one of the variable called a, right, and then if you are declaring a value called 34, right, and then if you are entering again, and if you are typing id in bracket a and bracket close, right? So from this one, right, if you are typing this one, why we have write id and in bracket variable a? Because this is used for seeing or finding the memory location for the variable a. So if you are noticing, this is the variable, right? Now next time if I'm declaring different value for the same variable, for an example it is 70, okay, and if I hit enter and if I type again id and in bracket a in bracket closing, and if I run that one, so if you notice that my memory location got changed, right? At time whenever you change your variable value, right, from 34 to 70, so if you see the memory location is also changing. That's why it is called as a the immutable data type. So you need to make this in mind, because it is very crucial to understand, because if you make understand if you make mistake over here, definitely will not be able to correct some problems or issues later time of the programming long language. So you need to make sure that, right, so it's very important for us to understand. So I hope this makes sense to you guys. Okay, so the next thing which we need to make sure that is a statement in Python, right? So what are the statements? So statements are basically instructions or the command, right, which is help us to write the program and help us to fix the issues or to run the script. So there are various, I mean, ample of the statements in the programs in Python. So one is the assignment, then we have conditional, then we have looping, then we have expression, then we have print, and then we have import, right? So how it can help us, right? So basically they all help us to get the desired output. So for an example, if we see the looping statement example, if we write a program, right, in looping, so for an example over here in my screen, right, command screen, for an example, okay, if I write a is equal to 25, okay, then I enter if, and then in bracket I'm mentioning is greater than 23, closing the bracket, termination, okay, in the looping, then we are using print function, okay, and then we are mentioning, okay, we're mentioning a over here and closing the bracket, okay, right? And now for an example, if I write, okay, so okay, let me rewrite. I made a mistake over here. So if you see we got 25, right? So let me rewrite it again, okay, 1 second. So if I again declare a is equal to 25, okay, then I'm entering if in bracket is greater than 20, okay, then bracket closing, then termination, then hitting enter, then writing print function and printing my uh, hello command over here, okay, let's see, then closing the bracket, and then again we are declaring while, okay, and then we are writing a is greater than 23 again. Okay, then termination, then we are declaring print in bracket a. Okay, and then we are giving again over here a is equal to a minus 1. Okay, and then now run this one. Okay, so you will get hello 25 24, right? So which means we have given condition over here, if a is greater than 20, right, and while a is greater than 23, right, then a is equal to a minus 1, which means our old value was 25, right? So it took that a is equal to 25 is our variable equation and the value was 25, so it has to subtract 1 from that. Then that's why we got 25 first as a base value, then it got subtracted again from the 25 and you got 24. Now we have value called 23, which is right now standing in the variable a. So 23 is not greater than 23, that's why it is not printing over here. So this is the looping statement, one of the example which we have discussed just now. So I hope this makes sense to you guys. So one of the example which I would like to showcase here is that is import statement, right, which we have discussed. So what is import? So let's see that. So import statement, write import and write system that is used for the library part. Then to declare your function define, which means def. Then in over here we type okay size in bracket, okay, and then termination, then hit enter, then print, okay, then in bracket you can mention anything, right? Fix, then bracket, quotation, and then close and hit enter. Now you want to call that function again. Okay, so what you can do, if you can hit enter and if you type the same name whatever you have declared from the function level, okay, and just hit enter, you will get your print function output over here. So this is the import statement, and from that we were able to bring down the function what we have declared over the import level. Okay, the import statement. So this is how the import statement works. So the next thing which you need to understand is the operator, right? Operator in Python, right? So there are a few things which you need to make sure that. So operators, so what are the operators? So operators are nothing but they are used in general to perform operations on the values and the variables in Python programming language, and there are common symbols that are used for logical and mathematical processes. Okay, so now this has two things. One is the operators over here, which we have seen, right, and that is called that is used for the unique symbols. Okay, and that can be anything. For an example, it can be subtraction, it can be addition, right, it can be multiplication, it can be division, etc, etc. Okay, now second one is the operand. Okay, so operand is nothing but that is a value that the operator is applied on is it. So it is basically there are three things for the operand which you need to make sure that is a unary, ternary, and binary. So I hope you know that what exactly those thing is, right? Unary, ternary, okay, and then binary. I hope you know the binary. Binary is 0 and 1. Okay, ternary are the conditional ones. Okay, and unary we're going to see all those things over here. Okay, so it is an important thing, guys, so you need to make sure that you understand this thing correctly, otherwise you may face the issues. Okay, so arithmetic operator, basically you know that is basic mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, what we have mentioned over here in the operations, right? Comparison operator, which we know that is used for the comparison between the statements, and there are the logical operators. So that is something you may have also heard, and or not, that are all the logical operators, right, many of the programmings we may have used those things. Then and then we have uh, one of the programs what we can write to make it more clarity on this is, for example, if we do the comparison between two things. So for an example, if we have variable a is equal to 10, then we have again variable b is equal to 20, for an example. Now we are declaring, or we are doing comparison 3 greater than b. Okay, so in that case what we will get, definitely we will get false, because this is a logical operator, a is not greater than b, right? And now if we type a is less than b, again we will get true, because this is absolutely true, because A is less than B. So this is a logical operator comparison which will be make more sense for you to understand what exactly the logical operator is, right? And then what we can do is we can also do one more an example. For an example, for if I declare A is equal to, let's say, true, then B is equal to false. Okay, and now we can do comparison A and B, and if I enter I may get false. So this is a comparison. Okay, and if I type A or, okay, B, so I will get true. So this is and or not comparison what we have seen, right? And if I type not A, okay, so I will get false. Okay, so this was I think the about the logical operators, which may make more clarity for you to understand, right? And if we do one more program, for an example, simplicity over here, if A is equal to greater than A is equal to 34, right? Okay, 35, and then you type A is equal to again 67 into 45 minus 5. Okay, so what you will get? Okay, so you supposed to get certain output over here. Okay, so again, if you type, you will get 3010. Okay, so this is a multiplication and subtraction and arithmetic logic, the rule of that the arithmetic function what we are performing over here to understand those things. Okay, so we see one more operator called in operator, right? So for an example, if you want to find particular character from the strings, whether there is a whether it is available in string or not, so how you can find that? You can use in membership operator. So for an example, if I use A, okay, in, okay, now I'm typing a string, for an example, uh, hello. Okay, let's take this example, and if I type enter, definitely you will get false because A is not present in string called hello. That's why A in is the membership operator which is used to identify a particular character from the strings. Now if I type a different scenario, for an example, A, okay, in different name, for an example, in, let's take an example of Vishal. Okay, and if I enter, definitely you will get true because A is present in this name in the string. Okay, that's why it is coming true here. So this is a membership string which you need to make sure that it is used for the many of the things, right? So now we're gonna run one of the simplest program to understand how you can join different things together. Okay, so let's take an example over here. Okay, I am using this one, removing everything, and let's take an example. We have a variable called name. Okay, and then we are taking input from user. That's why I'm writing over here input, and then we are mentioning that over here in double quotation, what is your location, or, okay, and then we're gonna, okay, or we can write over here the second thing is print, okay, function, and then we're gonna mention over here, okay, what is your name. Okay, and then we're gonna add that string with your variable called name over here. Okay, so we type over here name, and then we're gonna close it. We're gonna save this program. Okay, then we're gonna run this one. So if you run this one, okay, so you will get over here. So it is asking a location over here. Okay, that means if I type, for an example, Indore over here, let's take an example. So it's mentioned that what is your name. Okay, so it is like that you are combining two different things. Instead of that, if I change this thing to something, for an example, like what is your name, right? That could be the best thing. So if I type over here, right, and then I'm saving it. Okay, now if I run this program again, okay, let's see what happens. So if I type, okay, I hit enter, so it says what is your name again, because we have change over here. So if I change this to something meaningful, how are you? Okay, save it and run this again. So let's see. So this way it will make more sense for a user to understand. So it states user input Vibhava and how are you Vibhava. So this way you can combine different things in the programming language. Okay, so let's try one more program. For an example, right, if you are asking input from user and then you want to store that input into the different variable, right? So for an example, if I type that, okay, old underscore standard is equal to input in bracket, right? If I type over here, enter your old standard, okay, number, okay, and yeah, and then again we are using new standard is equal to, right? Now over here, if I'm not using data type called int, right, I may face an issue over here. So I need to use int over here, and then bracket I need to mention old underscore std bracket close plus 5, okay, and then print in bracket new std, okay, and then we can save this one. So now if you run this one, you will not going to face any kind of error, okay. So this is way. So now if I type 7, okay, I will get 12. Why? Because 7 is my user input and addition of plus 5 into the old variable, that's why I'm getting 12 over here. So my old variable, which was old standard, that is the asking input from user, and then that input it gets stored with addition of 5 into the new standard, and that new standard we are printing over here, right? Suppose if I remove this int over here, right, and if I save it and I run it, definitely we will face an error over here, because if I type enter, I mean if I give the input to user, right, it will throw this error, because this is my area where I haven't declared the data type. This is, I know I have speak previously that Python is a smart language, it will be going to declare, it will be going to understand the data type itself, but that is something for the simplest programming language. For an example, this is something, if you have two variables, right, which so at first level you can understand, but in the different scenarios, if there are more complex things, we it need to define what input we are asking from the users, and what is the type of that input. Is it an integer, float, string, boolean? So that we need to specify, which is makes more sense for script to understand what is exactly user is saying and how it need to be get performed for the programming concept, okay. So the next thing is, if for an example, if you find the index 6 of particular string or the character from the value, okay, so what happened? For an example, if we type over here a is equal to, right, if I type, okay, okay, if I type this name, and then we're going to print it, okay, and then in bracket we are mentioning name dot find, right, then we're gonna mention over here, right, a specific letter, for an example E, okay, and then we're gonna close this one, okay, and let's see if we run this one what we will get, okay. So let's see, save it and run this one. So in that case we are getting an error over here, right, because we are making a mistake over here. Hang on 1 second. So by typing this one, name dot find is equal to E, okay, let's state that name error name is not defined, okay. All right, so which means over here I need to use, instead of name dot find, I need to use my variable name a dot find. So whatever we are finding, which we need to specify over here, so if we run this one, okay, so which means I will get 1, because in programming language you need to make sure that you need to variable you can document anywhere, everything always start with 0, especially in Python. It will not like it will begin with 1. So the first place 0, that is standing L, then we have E is first, N is 2, O is 3, okay, it is working that way. So you need to make sure that, right. For an example, if I just wanted to find a specific string over here, right, instead of name, if I want to find some string type, for an example, if I type over here like this. Okay, now over here if I wanted to just find del, okay, okay, and if I search it again, right, let's see. So first of all I have to save it and then I have to run it. So I will run it, I will get 7th. So 7th is my index position of my keyword which I am finding from the variable. So if you count from 0, okay, 0 1 2 3 4 5 6, right, so till the empty space this is the 6th position, and my 7th position begins with D, and that is for the del. That's why it is showing that it is the 7th position. Okay, so this way you can find the strings or the character from the variable as well. One more thing is that, for an example, if you want just not to find but you want to replace something, right, so in that case instead of find, okay, you can just put a dot replace. Now this first position can be anything as per your variable name. I have declared over here a, that's why it is 8.0. Now instead of del you want to change it to something, for an example. So let's take an example. You want to change del to something called bell. Okay, so if we put single quotation and b, okay, and we save it, so if you see, okay, and if it, again I write it over here, print a, okay, and then it's gonna work. Oh, hang on, save it and run this one. So if you see, we have run this one and successful. If you see, Lenovo Dell, so earlier it was Bell, now it is coming as in Bell. Okay, because we have printed, so this is taking original name, and this second, the first print is taking B, that's why we are getting the Lenovo, right, Bell over here. So this way you can use search, I mean find and the replace function in the Python. So let's see the if else program in Python, for an example, right? So if you want to write a program, right? Okay, program to find your age. Okay, yeah. So now if we are declaring over here, for an example, age is equal to input bracket, enter your age, okay, then entering here, and then we are writing if condition, if age is greater than or equal to 18, then termination, oh, sorry, this one, yeah, and we need a print function urn delta. Okay, now second thing, yeah, else if, so which means another function, else if age is less than 18 and function से हम join कर रहे हैं, we were merging two different queries over here, so age is greater than 3, okay, then termination. Okay, now we are printing one more command, print you are student. Okay, and then we are closing, and the last portion, okay, else again termination. Okay, then print you are kid. Okay, so now this is one of the function program which we have written over here, and from this one, okay, if you write it, let's see what you will get it. So if we write, save it and run it, okay, so okay, we are getting over here, 1 second, an error. So okay, we need to specify greater than or equal to 18, less than 18 but greater than 3. Okay, let me save it again, there was a space issue, and then let's run it again. Okay, again there is a syntax issue. Alright, so in this case we need to first of all mention over here, okay, and then run it, and it should get worked. Okay, so now let's enter any age, for an example 25. So definitely you will get error over here because we haven't declared int over here. Okay, so let's declare first int, then over here. Okay, and then run it again. So if I run it, okay, hang on, it's stating still error. Okay, so this means we need to specify hmm, hang on, let me type for an example 25 over here. We save it, and if we run it, let's see what we get. So we get you are an adult because as per the condition it is greater than or equal to 18. That means it is this function will get print this statement. If I write it 17, okay, so if you write this way, okay, you will get you are a student. And if I write 1 for an example, so probably you will get you are a kid over here. So this is an if else program. Over here you can try to take input from user, just I tried previously. Instead of just putting fixed number, you can ask input from user, and that can be in the certain format, right? So from this way you can create if else program as well. So let's see one more program for an example. If you want to build a mini calculator, right? Okay, so what we can do for that, we need three inputs, right? First we gonna ask input, we're gonna ask input from user will get input, and then we will again ask for user to input their operator, what kind of actions he wants to perform. For that, it is an addition, subtraction, division, or multiplication, and with which number he wants to perform again that thing. Okay, so we'll again ask a second number. Okay, so let's type first. So we'll mention over here first is equal to input, okay, and in bracket enter first number, okay, over here close it. Second operator, because we need an operator, so I mentioned opd is equal to input, in bracket enter the operation you want to perform. Okay, and in bracket we're going to specify addition, subtraction, okay, multiplication, okay, then gonna division, then we're gonna use modulo. Okay, then bracket close, then termination, then bracket, and then quotation, and then bracket parenthesis. Okay, then we're gonna ask second input. Okay, so what it is, input bracket, okay, enter second number. Okay, so this way now we have defined that what we are asking from user to enter. Okay, now we're gonna mention condition over here. If opt is equal to plus, okay, yeah, and then we're gonna print function is equal to first plus second bracket. Okay, now instead of rewriting the same program, you can copy paste it. Yeah, okay, so make sure you need to understand that we are only performing for five operators. Okay, so what we need to do is, this is for the subtraction, so we're gonna use subtraction. Then this is for the multiplication, this is for the division, and sorry, this is for the module. Okay, right, so now we need to declare this over here as well. So this should be subtract, multiplication, okay, then division, and then module. Okay, over here. Okay, So now we need to specify, we need to make this to elif, because we need to separate the if and else, because if is our first condition and else is for the second condition, and there should be an else part. So there should be one last else part, right? Which means over here we need to specify that it is an invalid. Okay, so we need to specify over here, you need to specify invalid. Okay, so we need to convert first of all numbers and certain format, then it will going to work, otherwise it will not going to work. Okay, so we need to hit enter over here. So we're gonna write it over here. First is equal to int and then in bracket first. Okay, 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 okay. Now let's run this one. So if you run this one, okay, so if you enter 2, then we're gonna use for addition first function, so you will get 4. Second number we are entering, sorry, so we made a mistake. Let me rerun this one. So if we run this one, okay, 2, now my operator is just addition, enter, then second number you should get 4. Okay, we are making some mistake over here. Alright, so if you see now the program is working. Okay, so let me rerun the program. For an example, if you are performing for second function, okay, so if we run this one, and if I use, let's say 2, and my operator is, for an example, subtract, okay, and we're going to use 1, I should get 1 as an output. Okay, and similarly if I run this program again, and if I do, then I'm entering 5, and then I want multiplication with again second number, that should be 5, so I will should get 25 over here. So this way, this is our mini calculator is working. So we need to make sure that when we are declaring things, you need to make sure that the type pad or that one. So our first input, where we have taken input from user, we have declared over here as an int, as a data type, so this is an integer. Second, again we have asking second input from user, we are mentioning the int, it should be data type, and then there are condition, giving as a condition of if and else. If would be my first condition and the else would be my second condition. So we need to make sure that we need to use if else, if elif and else would be my termination function, where I may face an inappropriate or invalid input from the user, so I need to populate this message. That's why I need to use this command over here. So make sure you need to use if else in this format, otherwise you will not able to get the accurate output. So now we're gonna see one of the most important program, right? And let's see that. So let me first convert this into the comment, and okay, so if we write one of the program for the looping is one of the most popular thing in the programming language, right? So let's take an example. If you don't want to write several things, I mean same programming line for different numbers again and again, so what you can do, you can use loop, right? So let's take an example. If you're taking I is equal to 1, and then you're using while, okay, while loop, then I less than or equal to 10, okay, then termination, then print function, and print I. Okay, now we need to specify over here the one of the important condition, right? Otherwise a program will get crash, we will face an issue over here, right? So we're gonna use over here. Okay, so we'll save this one. Okay, and now if you run this one, okay, let's see. So from this way it got run. Similarly, you can change if you want to write numbers till 100, you just need to save it, rerun it, right? It will be that much of faster. Okay, so it is working like this way. So it is working one of the important things which you need to make sure that, right, if you're writing a new program, So you need to make sure that this is the condition, and it is called as an infinite loop. If you are not writing this one, you will face an issue what we have discussed previously. Now let's take an example how it is working. So first of all, we are declaring I is equal to 1, right? And we are giving condition I is less than or equal to 100, which means our loop will run till the number 100, right? Whenever you reach the number 100, it will get stopped, it will get terminated, because this is the ultimate or last point of the looping part, right? So till that number it should get run. That's why it reaches to 100, right? So for an example, if I again put it 10, and if I run this program, definitely you will get 10 lines over here, okay, this way. Now instead of this one, for an example, if you want to print a particular pattern, right? For an example, if you want to use star pattern, so what you need to use, you need to remain this, you need to write this as it is, and over here you need to use multiplication, then you need to put double quotation, you need to put star over here, then quotation, right? This will remain as it is. Save it and run it again. So if you run it, you will get this one into the star pattern, right? This multiplication function works as it is with the numbers and the special characters, right? So it will work as it is, right? It will do addition and multiplication, and from that way, like 1 is standing in the one line, same way you will get 1 star, 2 for 2 star, and 10 for 10 star. So this way you can use blue for printing the pattern as well. Similarly, if you want to write this pattern in opposite way, right? For an example, you want this 10 line of star to be on first place and first star to be on last place, okay? So what you do is you need to declare over here 10, right? And over here your condition should be little bit changed from greater than or equal to, it should be 0, and over here print I is multiplied, this will remain as it is. Over here instead of addition it should be subtraction. So when you do the subtraction over here, and if you run this program, okay, you will get, this is the output, right? What we are talking about. You just need to make sure that how you can use the functions, right? Arithmetic and operators, and from that you can get the output what you are expecting with the help of loop, okay? So now we're going to see a list in Python, right? So let's understand what list it is and how you can write that, okay? So for example, you have score, okay, and that should be in the square bracket, yeah. Let's take an example. You have English score as in 70, comma, then you have mathematics 89, then you have geography, okay, 98, okay, then we are printing this, okay, print, and in bracket score, okay, then saving. So if you run this one, right, you will get, okay, there is a spelling error over here, so 1 second. Right, so if you see, it got printed over here. So this is called a list, right? And you have the marks, and you can print at all. And this is not the only one operator. For an example, if you want to print a specific score from the list, so you can use the indexing. So you just need to mention the position of index. So we are putting 0. So 0 is this one, as we mentioned previously, everything begins with 0 in Python, and for the index part, so 0 is 70, then 1, and then 2. So we are saving this one, okay, and then if we are running this program, it should bring the number 70 over here. Simultaneously, if I use a negative, for an example, -1, right? So let's see what you will get. So definitely we should get 98, or yep, 98. So it start counting negative from right to left, okay? So that is for the list part from the marks, okay, I mean the score, okay? So apart from this one, you can use many things. You can put two things. For an example, if you just wanted to put two numbers or two marks for two subjects, you can use, like, for example, 0 position index, then colon, and then 2, okay? So if you type this, you will get 70 and 98 as an output, because 0 is position is 70, and then 89 is my, okay, 89, okay. So in this case, it is counting over here from this is 0, then this is 1, and this is 2. That's okay, strange, okay, it's working. So let's see. Then if you change the number, for an example, from here or here, okay, and then we can see how we can run loop in this one. Okay, so let's see, write a loop for ma in score, then print marks. Okay, so if you run this one, you will get all the marks over here. Okay, so this is the loop, how you can run the loop in the list. Okay, and for an example, if you want to add some marks into this thing, how you can add that thing. Okay, so let's see that. So for example, in that case, you just need to write marks, sorry, you need to write score dot append, because you want to add numbers. Let's take an example 77, then comma break, close the bracket, and run. This should be again score actually. Okay, now if you run this one, so you will get list with 4 numbers, 4 subject marks. Okay, so over here, I'm going to save this one first of all. Second, oh, strange. Okay, and there was, now it should, there was a blank space, that's why it was not running. So if you run this one, so it will add 77 into that as well. So this way you can append the new score into the list as well, right? So, and instead of that, you can use insert as well. You can use insert, right? And if you add this to the first position, you need to add 0 comma this, then save it. So now 77 will be saved into the first place instead of 70. So let's see, this way you can change the position of your marks with the help of indexes. Okay, so now for an example, if you want to find that your marks is exist in the list or not, so for an example, if you write it over here print, then if you write for an example 77 in score, okay, so it will populate true if this number is present in this list or not. Okay, so save it and run this program, you will run it, so you will get true. If I write it for an example 87 over here, definitely I will get false because there is no marks called 87 in my list, so I will get false over here. So this is where you can use this function, right, in function, to find your marks in the list. Okay, now what other things which we can do is, now suppose if you want to make the empty of your list, right, so in that case you need to write a command called marks dot clear, then bracket, and then print, and in bracket type marks, close, save it, and now if you run this one, okay, you will get the list as an empty over here. Here we go. Okay, 1 second. Oh, we need to use score actually. 1 second. Oh yeah, it should be score as well. So if we run this one, now it should be an empty list. Okay, this way. If you see, we have made the list empty with the help of the score.clear function. So let's say how we can use loop with the score. Okay, so for an example, let me add 4 numbers over here. Let's take an example over here, 55. Okay, now let me remove this one. Okay, so if I'm typing for score in score, okay, then termination, then print if score equal to okay, 55, okay, then continue, okay, then alright, and then we're going to print SCORD. Okay, so with the help of this, what will happen is the loop will run with the list. Okay, it will target and find that number what we have mentioned over there. Okay, don't change this one, it should be this one. Okay, let me remove this one. Okay, now we save, and if we run this one, okay, strange. SCOR score, right? Strange. Score and score. If the score is equal to, it should be worked actually. Strange. 1 second. Invalid syntax. Okay, hang on. So now if we fix this one, there was blank space. Okay, we remove that, and if we run this one again, it should get work now. So if you see, it's working now. So what it did, it checked the number what we were specified over here. So for scoring loop, right, if the score is equal to 55, then continue and then print the score. So what it did, it checked that 55 was present over here. It took all the value after the 55 what it was having, 70, 89 and 98. So it brings all everything over here. So with this way you can use loop with list as well. So now we're going to see how we can create a function and how we can use those function again and again. Okay, so let's try that as well. Okay, so here is our file. Okay, we'll put again comma over here. Okay, let me take some space over here. Right now we have one of the function which we are trying to create. So function, we are declaring prime. Okay, then this is the function name. Okay, we are mentioning n over here, bracket, okay, colon, and then for I in range 2 comma n bracket colon. So what we are doing over here is we are trying to create a function, and that function going to divide value from 2 to n, right? So whatever value we are going to enter in the n value, right, they will be going to divide by 2, right? If it is divisible, then it is a prime, otherwise it is not the prime number over here. So let's complete the program over here. So if in bracket n percentage I equal to 0 bracket close colon and print, okay, in bracket not a prime. Okay, this is a message. Second message, now we need to break it, we need to break this over here. All right, so we need to put over here break, because we need to terminate the loop if it is working, otherwise we need to again use else. Okay, we need to type one more print statement, prime number. Okay, so this is our function, okay, which we have created over here, right? Let's save it and let's run it. Okay, so it got run successfully, which means in this statement we haven't used input function. That's why we write manually here. So we write prime, okay, in underscore number, in bracket we are typing, let's say 8. Okay, we are saving and then we are running. So we are using this function, so we are getting not prime because it is not divisible by n, that's why. Okay, so that's how the function works, and functions is very beneficial in all of the programming language. It is like one kind of program which we have created, and we can use it anytime in any of the situations. We don't have to write any of the program anytime. We can use the predefined function what we have created previously, right? That is the advantage of the function. So you can like use another numbers, right, and you can run this way, so you will get that as well. And instead of that you can put the user input as well, so that can also be worked over here. So for functional part, we need to make sure that there are two things, global variables and the local variables. Global variables are those which is an outside of any function, right, and have a global scope. and that can be accessible throughout the programs and within all the functions, which means assigning or modifying a global variables within the function, right? Global keyword required. That is the first thing. For local variable defined within the function and have a scope limited to that function, right? And it can be accessible within the function in which they were initialized. So these are the two main points for the functions area. So by saying that means, for an example, right? Let me type function over here. Let me do a demonstration. So let's take an example. If we are using t equal to 20 and we are typing global over here, okay, and then we are defining function def gg in bracket termination, okay. So over here we need to mention local, okay, then hit enter, and then use, for that we need to use enter over here, and then mention a is equal to 100, okay, space, and then now print bracket a is equal to a bracket close, print, and this we're going to use t, we're going to use s sorry, t bracket over here, okay. Then we're going to call the function called gg, and this one, and then we're going to command print bracket okay, and one more print, and then it should get work. So now let's see what error we get. If we run this one, we may face an error here, okay. So this one, it's stating most recent call last, which means print a is equal to a, the name error, name a is not in a defined one, okay. All right, 1 second. Okay, we have declared a is equal to 100 over here, and this is a local. All right, strange p a, okay. So if I remove this one, okay, and then we run, it should, let's see what output we'll get, okay. It's stating something about a, that is strange actually. Let's change this to some different name, for an example. And this is a global function, this is a local, okay. It is stating print, then over here, okay. All right, so because of this we are getting error. So if I remove this one and then run, let's see what we will get. Then this should get run, because all right, which means over here when we have declared local, that's why it is not working. So that is the main difference between local and global, what I specify over here, okay. So global function will work, right, which is we have declared outside the function, but in local function if we are declaring that and we are calling outside the local function, it will not going to work. That was the key over here, so that it got work. So when I change this t to a, okay, over here, okay, let's see, we may get an error over here. All right, so let's see, definitely what error we have seen previously. So that was the reason, okay, that's why it was not working. So we need to make sure this thing. So that's all dosto. I hope you like this video, and don't worry about learning more thing over here. We are keep doing more videos on the Python, so we will see upcoming videos on the Python. We are gonna cover many programs in the Python and how you can run those programs in your environment. We're gonna help with that as well. And keep subscribe and do like and do give us your feedback on this one, what things we need to improve. Okay, we would love to hear your feedback from us. So thank you so much for your patience and time listening this video. We need more motivation from you all. Thank you so much, dosto. Take care. Bye.